Fun Squad, this is your girl Shaquena coming to you live in color. Hey my people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, giving me thumbs up, thumbs down. Thank you for sharing my videos. I appreciate the love. Welcome to my new subscribers. Thank y'all so much for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate all the love and support. Make sure that everybody keeps commenting. Comments are important to the channel. Please comment. To the ones that have not subscribed yet, just go and subscribe to the channel. Y'all been watching my content this long, so subscribe to the channel. Okay, I'm coming to y'all today with part 3 of the tragedy of Girl X. Okay, a lot of y'all don't remember this young girl, but by the end of this series, I hope that y'all remember her as much as I remember this young woman. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to read to y'all about this young girl. Okay, Bolar was more than happy to receive the cash, but McNair, who spent days posting signs in every building at Cabrini and selling tickets in advance, is still reeling that there wasn't a bigger turnout. People should have been knocking me down to get here, she said. When something goes bad in our neighborhood, we should take responsibility to help ourselves. Okay. Speaking for the family, sympathy drew Beverly Reed to the young girl's bedside. What she has learned about herself in the past 3 months is what keeps her there. A week had passed before Reed learned of the attack, but when she read the newspaper article, she said, I felt like I had been hit with a ton of bricks. A survivor of child sexual assault herself, Reed knew she had to do something. For weeks now, Reed, who lives in Inglewood, miles away from Cabrini Green, has been the public mouthpiece of the family, whom she had not met before the attack. Though Reed, the public's bond with Girl X is easier to comprehend. She said she lost her job as a community organizer because she was spending too much time holding rallies and traveling across the country, telling Girl X's story on television, talk shows such as Geraldo, Lisa, and Oprah. But perhaps most importantly, she did something that even surprised her. She raised $264,000 to help pay for Girl X's long-term care. The money is being held in a trust at Illinois Service Federal Bank in Chicago. I call it divine order, said Reed, 36, who has 5 children of her own. In a sense, I see myself as a surrogate mother for her. Being a recovering person, it occurred to me that in order for me to continue to grow, I had to be a living example of how to come through tragedy. Reed's life story is almost as disturbing as Girl X's. She was sexually assaulted by a teenage neighbor when she was 8, and the abuse continued for 4 years. During that time, she never told anyone, least of all her parents, who worked hard to provide a decent life for her and her siblings. In the years that followed, Reed says she became an alcoholic, a cocaine abuser, a prostitute. She said her best friend, who was sexually assaulted by the same man, committed suicide in '88, a week after Reed dared to ask her if she ever thought about what had happened to them as children. The sexual abuse is the thing that destroyed me. It set me on a course of self-destruction, said Reed, who has founded an organization called Word Songs for Survivors of Sexual Assault. It just made me think this is what I deserved. I don't know why, because I was a happy little brown kid up until that point. My friend suffered the most because she couldn't find a safe place within herself to be okay. My safe place was as a victim. I was like a vampire. I fed off the pain, so I drew all kinds of painful experiences in my life. I was like a sponge because I could take it and come back for more. 6 years later, Reed decided to change her life. For her, the advocacy for Girl X is a campaign against sexual assault. There was John Benet Ramsey, rich white suburban affluent and 6 years old, and Girl X, poor, black, inner city, destitute. Within 2 weeks, they both had the same experience. To me, that says sexual assault transcends all barriers, social, economic, and racial. Dad keeps in touch. Jimmy Curry was barely in his teens when he moved in with his sister at Cabrini Green and first laid eyes on Melinda. For him, there was an instant attraction, but she couldn't give him the time of day. You know how girls and boys be. I used to watch her out the window. She didn't like me at first. She threw me off, but I wouldn't give up, he said from his home in Minneapolis. It wasn't long before the two started dating, and by the time Belinda turned 16, she was pregnant with her first child, Girl X. Curry was only 17, but he was determined to help take care of his daughter. I dropped out of school and started working at McDonald's. I had a lot of different jobs at the time, said Curry, 26. When she was first born, I had her every day. People at the apartment used to laugh and say, "There he goes with that baby on his hip again." She's my oldest daughter and we are real close. The relationship with Belinda soon fizzled. 3 years ago, he married another woman from Cabrini, and the two of them moved to Minneapolis where Curry has older siblings. It was real hard to leave my daughter, but I knew in my heart that I had to do it. I wasn't getting anywhere here. I was living in the wrong environment. I tried to explain to her that I moved for a better life and that I didn't forget about her. At first, Curry said he returned to Chicago every month to visit his daughter. The visits got less frequent, but he still tried to talk to her regularly by phone. After hearing the news of the attack, Curry said he came to Chicago and stayed 2.5 months. But when he first got here, he had difficulty getting into Children's Memorial Medical Center to see her. I came 400 miles and I couldn't see her. They gave me a little static. I had to sit and wait for over 30 minutes. My wife couldn't see her for 3 or 4 days, he said. They still won't let my family see her. They're letting Belinda have say so. If I come, I can't see her. No one, in fact, notified him of the suspect's arrest. He learned the news later from the press. Curry said he is training to be a nursing assistant like his wife. That will help him, he said, when he tries to get custody of his daughter when she recovers. I pray every day, and I've got everybody here praying for her too. When she comes close to being herself, I'm coming down there to get my daughter. Where to call home. Somebody in the near future, Girl X will leave the safe world created for her at Shaw and re-enter the real world where things haven't always been so pleasant. Where she ends up will depend largely on how much progress she makes at Shaw during the next few weeks. But whether she returns home or enters a long-term rehabilitation or nursing facility, the family will need thousands of dollars to cover services that public aid does not provide. But perhaps more important than money, Girl X will need a supportive mother who can encourage her and care for her day in and day out. Part of the help to make that happen comes from an unlikely source. The president of one of Chicago's most popular radio stations, WGCI. Though they've never met, Marv Dyson has become a father figure for Belinda. He counsels her by phone almost daily on the simplest and most complicated issues in her life. Most of the time, she appears to listen. She has her own moments and she'll call me for encouragement and support, said Dyson, who lives in Burr Ridge with his wife and 4 of his 7 children. Throughout the ordeal, Belinda has, for the most part, stayed away from the press. She turned down Oprah Winfrey and she refused to appear on her radio show in New York. Her sister said because she is scared to fly. She declined to talk to the Tribune for this article. Out of Girl X's tragedy, Dyson wants to ensure some good will come. He plans to use a portion of the $297,000 donated to the station's Girl X fund to help Belinda become self-sufficient. Among others, he will help pay for child care if she decides to get her GED and even go to college. There are signs that Belinda is working hard to become a mother. She goes to the hospital regularly. She reads to her daughter, and sometimes she just sits and holds her hand. And emotional therapy, her doctor says, is as crucial as physical therapy. It is unlikely, the doctors says, that Girl X has any recollection of the attack. Amnesia is common in patients with such brain injuries, but that is not always bad. Sometimes it's a blessing for people who don't remember, said Shaw spokesman Mark Carlin. They can go on with life without the nightmares and daily horrors. It could be God's way of helping people who have been hurt like that. That is part 3 and the final part of this story of Girl X. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. This story should motivate y'all to always protect your children. Be there for your children. Watch out for your children. Don't let other things get in the way of you taking care of your children. Fathers, be there for your kids. Be there for your babies. Don't just up and leave your babies. If you need to move and you don't think life is easy for you, uproot your whole family. Don't leave your family behind like this man left his family behind. He left his child behind, y'all. And then once something happens to her, he wanted to come back and try to get custody of her. No, that don't work like that. You should have took this child and the mother with you to make sure that they had a better life along with you. Okay, I'm going to try to find an update to update y'all on what is going on with the girl now. But this is just the story of what happened to her and the things that this family had to go through. I don't wish this on nobody. I don't wish this trauma. I don't wish this I don't wish this sadness on nobody. And I pray to God that this little girl, she's not a little girl anymore, but I just hope she's okay. I'm going to, like I said, look up and try to find an update on Girl X, and maybe I can find something to let y'all know how she is doing. But I want y'all to comment down below. This is third and last part of this story. Y'all, please tell me what you think of this story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch part 1, part 2, and part 3 and put it all together. And maybe y'all can remember this young girl and the story, and remember the tragic story of this young girl. But in the meantime and in between time, make sure you give me those big thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell twice to be notified. If you're an old subscriber, make sure notifications on. Share all my videos. Like I always say, God only gives you one life, y'all. Please live it. Bye, y'all.